safety manual. It's about how individuals make choices based on earlier programming. Dialogue, the three minds develop over time. Benika.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
The power of the minds. You must be wondering why I said minds and not just mind. Everyone knows mind is powerful, all right? Because it has the ability to make anything happen. But we all know and feel like there is more than one mind within each and every one of us. The inner mind, or sometimes referred to as your heart, is telling you something else. You often hear from people that you should follow your heart or your gut. Does that sound familiar? Yes, I used to feel the same things too for several years, until some people told me about the inner mind being your subconscious mind. So you're dealing with two things, conscious and subconscious mind. Recently, I went to a meditation session where they talked about one more important entity, which is a perceptive entity, the intellect. So we got three, intellect, conscious mind, and subconscious mind. Well, of course, we all know about intellect, but sometimes we confuse the intellect with the conscious or the subconscious mind. So before I tell you how they're different and the power of each of these, let's begin by keeping the subconscious mind out of the picture for now. So have you wondered why people smoke or why they can't quit? We'll get to the bottom of it with an example. So there's this guy, Charlie, who's hanging out with a bunch of friends, and they're all smoking. So one guy tells Charlie, why don't you give it a shot? So Charlie's conscious mind does want to give it a shot. You know how sometimes we're all curious and sometimes it's just peer pressure, right? But everybody knows that smoking is harmful to your health. So within Charlie's mind, his intellect is telling him the very same thing. Smoking is harmful to your health. But his conscious mind is telling him, come on, you're not going to die. Just give it a try. So there's an argument between the intellect and the conscious mind. Let's talk a little bit about the intellect. The intellect is basically a processing engine. It has the ability to reason out what is good, what is not, based on experience. But the conscious mind can also be equally powerful, because it is the acting entity. The strengths of the intellect and conscious mind vary with individuals and also with each subject that each individual is dealing with. So depending on which is stronger, that will win, and the decision making happens accordingly. So let's say in Charlie's case, his conscious mind is stronger than his intellect. So after a while, both of them argue, and finally the intellect gives in. So Charlie decides to smoke. So he coughs for a little bit, and he thinks it's all right. Second time, Charlie hangs out with his friends again. So again, the argument begins between the conscious mind and the intellect. But this time, the intellect is a little bit weaker because it already failed once. So the intellect gives in, and Charlie smokes again. So while this was all happening, what was the subconscious mind really doing beneath the surface? The subconscious mind was simply listening and recording everything into the subconscious register. So Charlie has smoked a few times now. So each time he felt nice about it, that experience got recorded into the subconscious register. So every time more deeply. The subconscious mind is an obedient but powerful slave. It does not challenge any of the chatter that happens between the conscious mind and the intellect. It simply listens and accepts. So even though Charlie has been smoking a lot and finally his conscious mind and intellect are in agreement and they want him to quit smoking, but the subconscious mind will take over, and the habit pattern repeats. So this is why it's so difficult for us to give up bad habits. And the same thing happens in breakups, relationship breakups as well, because even though you know what the right thing is to do, the emotions are deeply engraved into the subconscious register. So that is why it's very important for us to be positive, talk positive to ourselves and with other people. Otherwise, these three minds can really play games within themselves and with other people. So what happens after that? Life gets complicated. So I thought this was very interesting to share with you all. Thank you for the opportunity.